Hi everybody. Just wanted to give another video, not to showcase self-centeredness, but to describe more of what's going on. I guess I'm in a way I'm kind of in that mood because I'll kind of want to catch myself in the heat of it, so that I can kind of go back and see what I was thinking possibly. So um, obviously I'm trying to work right now, but um, it's kind of interesting because I've been actually improving on my job in the last 2 months, and I understand part of it is what they've decided to do, but part of it is also because I'm getting somebody that's higher up than me. He does about 250 trusses a day. To go ahead and see how I work and like what I can really, you know, reasonably work, focus on. Because a lot of stuff that I look at, I end up kind of over overdoing it, and it's because I don't really see how the drawings that we do get executed, and it's because this kind of firm just wants you to pump out the drawings. They don't want you to spend extra time going out into the field and stuff like that. And well, also that's just not how our firm was built. We work with people that go out there, and that's just so the way it's set up is that we're kind of like optimized to just do one thing, and we have to be extremely fast at that. So, meaning basically just sitting down on the computer all day, going through it. And so uh, sometimes I just think to myself, like, to what extent do we need to like to be particular? What is what do we need to do here to make sure that we cover our ass basically? Because I'm sealing a lot of these drawings, right? So a lot of times I kind of default to just doing whatever I can. Like I'll just put this note here, that note there. I was like, this situation's a little different than what I'm used to, and so on. So that's kind of how it's been, and so it's kind of average for me to do about 80 trusses a day for a while. And now that I've sat down with somebody after years of, after years, because in the beginning it was like, okay, well, this is what we do, this is how we do it. So I just kind of got used to it that way, and I wasn't sealing back then, so I was just kind of just passing it on to another engineer that would seal it, and so it didn't really matter too much to me whether, I mean, in a weird way, it didn't really matter to me that much whether it was correct. So, or like how it gets used or whatever. I wasn't 100% responsible. So it's like I didn't look into every little nuance. I was like, it's up to them. I just kind of look at it and say, well, this is the things that we need to do based off of the training. I've always did that before passing it on to someone. Whereas when you're the one sealing it, you might put your own kind of notes and own kind of massage it your own kind of way, so that it basically the drawing so that you cover your ass. So that's why it's taking longer. So because like beforehand I was probably doing 200 trusses a day. Actually, that's the maximum. It would be like average 180 or so, and that's because I was just doing things based off of what I was trained to versus like covering my own ass. So, but now that somebody's actually sitting down with me while I'm trying to do the drawings that I'm sealing, looking we call it checking and checking. So I just and again, I don't have to say I'm not going to say what company it is because I don't want to give our business model away or whatever, just because, well, I'm trying to cover my ass. I mean, you could probably guess what company it is, but anyway. So because of all that, I was like kind of going slow, and it is what it is, right? That kind of thing. And so yeah, I mean, now that he's actually sat down with me, because a lot of times these people don't have time because they have to do their own work, right? So because there's like different, like, sitting down with you is different than like I mean, once you actually sit down with somebody, and you're being prepared to actually seal it, it's different. Well, especially when you first start off, because you're kind of thinking when you first start off and you're sitting with someone. Obviously, that was the case for me, because I was just new at this whole thing, this trust industry. Um, I was just new to this. Because of that, I was just trying to figure out what to do to like as a basic kind of thing. Whereas now it's like, well, I'm the one sealing it. So back then, it probably would have been extremely stressful for me to try to do both because now that I'm adjusted to that first layer, right, that second layer is like, okay, well, it's kind of more difficult to adjust to, um, because there's, like it's very particular, what you're looking at, and if a lot of times I would just pass it off in the beginning because I wasn't sealing it. Like, oh yeah, this situation's a little weird, but I'm just gonna do what I know, and then you just, you know. So it's like now you have to be responsible for the drawing. So you're like, fuck, right? How does this work? You got to be like, you can't just submit it. Um, so it's a little bit tricky, and I was like, so now that somebody's sitting down with me though, I'm like explaining to them a lot of things that I have concerns with. They're like, don't worry about it. It's the general rules say that, if we're covered because the general rules say blah blah blah, and then so I'm like, okay, well that puts me at ease. So now that they've done that, I've gone from 80 trusses to now 163 trusses a day, and well, it's a significant for me because it's important that I have some kind of, stability, and it's kind of difficult to, like, especially in this economy, I wouldn't say I'm desperate, but like it can be difficult to find a job and stuff like that, and especially where I'm at right now, it's pretty good. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, but I mean, at this point with how many years I have and stuff like that, it could be a little bit better. I mean, especially because when I'm practicing using my seal and stuff, it's like, oh yeah, I could pretty much do this on my own almost. I feel like, I'm not saying that, and that goes to another thing too, because now that I'm becoming more confident with that and other things as well, it feels like it feels like now after a while I'm like, dude, I need to find a way to be more efficient. And I can see the value in things like DoorDash and stuff like that, but I also don't see the value in it because of the nutritional aspect of it. I was listening to some podcasts the other day, and he was like, and I mean, I've heard this many times before. It's not like I haven't heard it before, but the guy was explaining. I think his name is Keto King. It was Keto King. I love Keto King, but he was explaining that if everything kind of aligns and you could basically save time and stuff like that, you should try to automate everything you can. I mean, case in point, I probably spent about 2 hours on laundry yesterday when there's literally a service for them to bring it in with. For some reason, I just forgot about that, and I was like, why didn't I just give it to, like, just use that service? I mean, it might be $20-$30, but it could be worth it. Where they kind of take your clothes and then they fold it for you, and then it's all done, So hold on, I just got a message here. This video might be somewhat long because I might be kind of at times just talking or just kind of like pausing to do my work. But I just felt like I had to get my thoughts out there because, I mean, I feel like I've been kind of pessimistic, like maybe 4 months before, and I just don't see why I should be. I mean, and I think the reason for that has a lot to do with the fact that I could be taking action, but I'm not taking as much action, or like I was telling you, my averages were like 80 trusses a day, and it just felt like I wasn't doing enough. So 160 is actually, the average is 250, but that's from like everybody, people that review, people that, so it's like, it kind of makes sense why it would be, why it wouldn't be that, so but people with their seal who have 40 years of experience, they're doing, one person's doing 600 trusses a day. I like to joke and say he's doing over 9,000, because we see him and he's just blowing through it. I'm not gonna say who it is, but there's other people that, like, one guy does 250, and that I know, he has about 20 years, 30 years experience. Someone else, let's see who else. Somebody else does. Well, one of the reviewers, he doesn't have a seal. He does 500 trusses, which makes sense because whenever I take his jobs, I'm like, there's so much shit I got to cover, but I don't want to tell him because then he's not gonna. It's just a form of covering your ass, Like, he doesn't look into it. He was like how I was. He's like how I was because he doesn't have a seal. He's not sealing the drawings. He's got 40 years experience, but he never was. He doesn't have a degree, so I'm not gonna say who it is. But yeah, there's just like a lot of things, so it's like, it kind of makes sense why it seems kind of low for me. And I mean, with only 3 years experience, not to say that there shouldn't be any reason why it shouldn't be higher, but part of the reason why it was so low was, well, part of, I've already discussed about the thing about being extra careful, but the other reason is, usually around, like, I could always put in more hours, right? I could always put in more hours. I'm not gonna lie. And I could always put in more hours. The issue is that, with putting in more hours, is that what happens is I have that fitness goal, right? Getting to 10% body fat, which I think I am achieving. I think I'm at, actually right now I might be at like 14.2% body fat. I'm just giving out a number like that because, reason why I'm saying that is because I noticed that my weight in, obviously my muscle hasn't, like, I measure my muscle, hasn't gotten smaller. And I measure my weight, compared to my last DEXA scan, now obviously this fluctuates all the time for various reasons, but I'm 3 pounds lighter. And obviously that actually I'm saying today I'm 3 pounds lighter. On average, maybe it's more like 1 to 2 pounds lighter. The reason why I'm saying, so when I saw that number, 158.8 pounds. I haven't seen anything that low since the 7-day fast. And it's like, I still have my muscles. So it's like, that's pretty good, And it just sounds so vain to say all this shit, but like, it just sounds like I'm chasing after an empty goal or whatever. But like, honestly, it's like, it's almost like a trophy. Like, if you can do it, the whole Fight Club, Brad Pitt physique, the 10% body fat, you've pretty much, like, it's almost like you've won Fight Club in a way. I don't know how to explain it without having to kill yourself. Well, actually, you've kind of killed yourself biologically in a way. But I wouldn't say, like, I know that, I mean, I saw that with my dad for the one time Fight Club. And I remember thinking to myself, fuck, how the fuck is Brad Pitt this fucking skinny? I'm like, I don't think he's like that all the time, but I'm just like, how can there's a machinist, right? I'm like, oh, hell no, I'm not going to become, like, that's just decrepit. That's like you dying tomorrow. That's like 3% body fat or whatever. But then you look at a guy like Brad Pitt from Fight Club, and you're like, holy shit, how can anybody be that lean? And it just kind of adds to this, like, this whole thing where it's like, I guess it's achievable. A physique like that is achievable. And, you're just like, at the time, you think that's kind of like something that you should have or whatever, like, just because you're young or whatever. But then after a while, you realize, well, that's too skinny or whatever. That's probably too skinny for anybody. And you're like, well, who cares if it's what do you call that, I don't know, a symbolic, you know, movie. Who cares if it's a symbolic movie, right? It's like, uh, it's just very slender, you know. Hold on, I gotta get somebody message me. Hey, Rhoda, when you have a chance, can you reboot your computer? Okay, I'm gonna reboot, but I'm just gonna want to get through this drawing set first. People next door are yelling. I don't know why. It's like they're having trouble parenting or something. But yeah, everything's going pretty good. But yeah, I just feel like for some reason I was kind of stalling on things, and so that goes back to what I was talking to my brother about over the weekend, and he was basically saying like, you know, let's try to do, it would be cool if you can get that real estate thing going, you know, with the Mafia Boss and stuff like that, because there was a MySpace game we used to play called Mafia Boss or something, and you know, it was kind of like that idea where you have real estate and you're trying to build up and stuff like that. And it's like, I told him, I said, I'm kind of playing it safe, which I kind of have been. And I mean, there's good reasons why, you know, it's, I don't expect anybody to understand like what I'm going through in particular. And I feel like I'm just like, so, because of all my numbers and stuff, I feel super inferior and like I don't know what I'm doing and stuff like that at times, but I'm still optimistic. I don't care what people think, and I don't care like what kind of, you know, I don't, you know, it's like I have my own goals and stuff like that, so I don't really care if people think I'm selfish or whatever. It's like, just do your thing, you know. So it's, you know, it's kind of weird. So let's see. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if I could sustain this level of productivity. But well, yeah, I was going back to the whole thing. So what happens is that basically I'll like do all this work, and then at 5 p.m. or something, I'm like, my fitness goals are important, so I just go to the gym, or I go on a run, you know. And I think I've said that in another video. But when I go on the run, they're fighting anyway. When I go on the run, it's usually a 7 to 10 mile run. I try not to do more than that because I know I'm gonna be extremely tired next day. Like right now, for example, yesterday night I did a 7 mile run. When I got home, you think I'm going back to on the computer? Hell no, I'm just sitting down like a lazy ass or whatever, resting. I'm going to sleep because I'm tired as fuck. You're very tired, you know. And by the way, this has 325 milligrams of caffeine. I made another coffee too, so I'm trying to up my caffeine. I think I'm becoming tolerant of more caffeine, and I can execute on that. But yeah, so everything's kind of like coming together, and I have to find ways to automate things because, for example, I know that even though I'm just working for a firm and it's not my own, not only is the work ethic important to keep up, right? But also, the other thing is, that if I want to, I noticed that if I want to improve those numbers, I would say exponentially, like any little kind of automation makes all the difference. It makes all the difference. I'm not even, like, you don't even know. I can't even describe it. Now that, like, the more I go through different things, like the more I you know, I work and go through my routines and try to incorporate fitness and cooking and stuff like that, the more I realize that any kind of automation any incremental automation will cause an exponential rise in productivity. So for example, it would be possible for me within a 10-11 hour shift to go from when I'm doing 163 trusses to 400 trusses a day. And if they could see that, who knows what the possibilities are. Now I know the general thing is don't try to make everything about your job for an employer, because you don't want to, because they don't deserve it, essentially. Um, and you may not even get anything from it, right? But again, it's about the work ethic and being in a position to be able to maneuver, because if you don't have that work ethic, you can't translate that over into other things. So like, one of those things would be real estate too, actually. I'm finding that a lot of things need to be more automated, and it's just, well, I'm still in the process because there's a development part to everything, right? So, you know, it is what it is, and I'm not really complaining about anything. I'm just saying, it's like that's just what it is, right? So, um, I think it's kind of interesting. It's like, it's for me, I really need to find ways to automate. I mean, it's just, I'm the last person to talk about automation. I feel like I'm so manual when it comes to everything. I'm like looking back, and I realized that when I was in college, first thing I would have done is get a credit card, use that credit card on a laptop that was the most advanced possible, and and also a computer as well, and get a big setup going. I wouldn't necessarily try to learn how to build a computer, because I think that can take a long time, and I know my brother knows how to do that, and I want to thank him again for building my computer, because that actually helped a lot in a way that was like automation. But I would definitely, I mean, with the whole credit card, and then just get a job. And I mean, I know that that's easier said than done, but like, I don't know. And everything kind of goes back to high school, because in high school I got a 2.7 GPA, and I just felt like I had to put all my time into just getting my grades up. I would say after probably 3 semesters, I would have probably started doing that. But instead, of my dumbass just relied on Democrat values and getting a free laptop and using that for everything. I'm not saying it's bad, but I mean, it worked out at the end. But you know, I just felt like I wanted to get some thoughts out, so I'm gonna pause for a second because I want to get through this job. Hold on a second. This is weird. Never seen this before, but let's see. Well, that should be fine. Let's see here. I understand that when I discuss this, I'm basically speaking from experience in the sense that not everybody's gonna have the same kind of job that I have. I understand that, but I guess I'm just speaking in terms of um, I guess what would make the most sense overall. Because, like, for example, maybe I may not have a job like this, but if I were to work for myself, I would basically make it about this. Like where you're sitting down and trying to do get, as much done as you can without having to do a lot of manual like physical things, So I would still have done that in the past. Like if I could just go back in time, I would have said, screw my credit score. I'm just gonna go all out on this. And it would have been more than more than just like school or whatever. It would have been like something that's preparing me for the real world, you know. But I can understand back then I was very poor, and nobody seemed to be willing to help me and stuff like that. So I was just very manual about things. And so, but now I can see the value in trying to like, well, okay, a lot of people were helping me, but not in that way, you know, like financially. So, but now I could look back and I can realize that, and I could see that automation was the number one thing, pretty much. Like, how do you automate your life, kind of thing. And yeah, that was pretty important. But I'm trying to figure this out. Okay, so. Anyway, I just found something where I'm like trying to cover my ass because, yeah, my situation's a little weird. My people that are like upper would probably tell me like, don't worry about that or something. I'm like, you just don't know until you see, you know. Like, well, maybe with your experience you can, but I'm just trying to check something because. Okay, that makes sense actually. Okay, good. Okay. This is something that somebody who's checking 500 trusses a day, 600 trusses a day, and they seal it, they wouldn't bat an eye, you know, for this kind of thing that I'm looking at. I'm not gonna say what it is because it's too complicated. Because I just want to move on with the job. But anyway, Yeah, there we go. Okay, so I gotta go back to that. F is 676. Six, seven, six. Oh, but wait a minute. Anyway, we were talking about employers and stuff like that, and you know whether it's worth you putting your all into it or whatever. I think that the work ethic part is important. Like you have to make sure that that's there before you can translate into something else. That's why I'm like, it just has to. I have to get this right, I'm not saying that you don't have it. I bet I don't really have. I'm not saying I don't have it. It's just that I think it could be slightly improved compared to handle better things, bigger and better things. I'm gonna try this. So it didn't look like the load was applied. And obviously there's a reason why that average is 250 trusses a day and not like 500 or 600 or something. Because obviously there is issues with like people run into. They're like, well, this doesn't seem right. So so yeah, I mean, it makes 100% sense. You run into things that you have to just fix, like because the software doesn't handle everything perfectly. What was I gonna say? Shit, I forgot what I was gonna say, but there was something there was some point I was gonna make. Shoot, I forgot. Gotta trying to get this done, but 6. Shit. All right, so now it shows up. Hopefully the other load won't show up because I'm trying to prevent that. Maybe it's in a different load case. I still don't see it. Such a pain in the ass to work on this one small truss that does just for that. Okay, so that is wrong. I knew that was going to be wrong. I'm so close to finishing the job. It's just this one stupid fucking truss. I mean, sorry, excuse my language. So, I think I have to... So I just have to take the load's not showing up, so I just have to take the difference and then apply that. kind of forgot the exact value because I don't want to overload the trust. It's like fuck. But yeah, so that whole work. Okay, so it goes back to the whole work ethic thing because, for example, the with the landlording, right? It's I did quite a bit of work to get to where I am right now before renting out the place, and you want to make sure you're doing things right. So I guess I'll show you what I've done. Over the weekend, I cleaned up the place so that I can start taking pictures to post it online. So I'm very close to just like starting to do the whole process. And I was telling my brother that I lost motivation or whatever, but in reality, it wasn't true. I just didn't know how to describe it. It was like, it's because there's one thing affecting the other. And like in the beginning of the day, it's like I feel more motivated, but then near the end of the day, it feels like I've been drained out of all my energy. And so it's like, and that's what I'm saying. So it goes back to the whole automation thing. If you can make things more automated, that's the way to go, because then once you start scaling all this stuff, it just becomes a big mess, and like, damn, I didn't know that it was going to be so hard, And so, for example, let me show you what I've done. This is like kind of like a first final draft because I've been working on these documents. These are all my lease agreement contracts that they're going to sign. So this one says property policy and rules. This is kind of, I have a lot of like fields there that say signature. Basically, they have to sign every single page. And so this probably took me about a month at random times to create. And like I was telling you, right, I only give myself about 3 hours to do this about every week on average. So, and then I just took some photos of what not to do, like don't smash this stuff. So I only give myself that much time, right? Versus actually like, because of my fitness goals. So I focus on that, right? And so basically this is like the house rules, right? And they just have to sign all of that. And then here's another thing that I have. It's called communication style commitment between landlord and tenant. It is understood that many cases call for any form of communication between landlord and tenant. However, the general expectation for both the landlord and tenant henceforth shall be via email or phone call. This document ensures a commitment to communicate via email or phone call and shall only be broken upon emergency-based situations or situations that require immediate attention. Particularly text messages sent to landlord, forceful face-to-face interactions, or other intrusive forms of communication are generally not allowed and will not be tolerated. In addition to the terms above, the landlord must file a reliable phone number and email to be used for these purposes. This document serves to allow the use of the phone number and email for reliable communication. If at any time this changes, a new form shall be amended showing the updated and signed form with the cancellation of this form. This document is also a verification that the landlord and tenant are both using their phone and number and email for receiving and providing the most updated information regarding communication. So I just say like sign below and stuff like that. So this is legally tending, but it's not necessarily legal in the sense that there's nothing in the law that says you can't, for example, have that forceful interaction. It's just a commitment. It's just saying, well, this is what we intend. And then here's the fixed term lease agreement. This is the one that I got from the property association that I have to pay $300 a year for. This is probably the best lease agreement you're ever going to come across for California. And then I have this other document. It's called the ACH. So they have to sign that so that I can start taking money directly out of their bank account instead of and being an automated process instead of like getting a check every time, because that can be a pain in the butt. And then tenant commitment to keep the area clean. This is also living area clean. This is also for me too. Tenant shall be responsible for keeping the unit clean and free of debris. This includes but not limited to messes, to cleaning up or avoiding messes created by living activities such as trash left on the floor, vomit, feces, or urination on walls or floors, stains left from smoking, temporary collection of bugs found, and others. The tenant's signature below shows that the tenant is committed to keeping a clean living area, be it in their space and common space, and that they will appropriately respond to situations calling for their action to create any messes caused by them or associated residents. Failure to do so may be in violation of the lease or other pre-agreements and may lead to unwanted consequences. I'm not suggesting what it may lead to. I'm not saying like there's a specific consequence. I'm just saying that it may. So, and it says related, the owner has services for pest control treatment completed at least once a month and can be changed to more frequently if desired. Note that if the tenant observes a failure of the commitment to keep the living area clean on the owner's end, please notify the owner of such negligence and in detail so that the owner may correct it. And then we have the bed bug disclosure agreement. Yeah, I mean, and then these are all boilerplate things like, lead-based paints and stuff like that, and move out inspections. So yeah, this is like a legit first draft. Not necessarily. It's like a tentative final draft because I worked on it for so long. And then yeah, I just wanted to show you that. And then I wanted to post an advertisement on Furnish Finders, but then I found out I have to pay $178 for a some sort of for an annual fee. So I got to do that soon, and and then we'll get it done. But yeah, I mean, it's just like it feels like I'm not motivated to do things, and I'm taking my sweet ass time. But in reality, it's like I think. In reality, it's just things take so long. It's oops. And so, it's especially if you want to do things right. And so now I'm like getting ready to take pictures. Maybe I'll show you like what it looks like downstairs. I did pull out some things so that I could start. So I'm basically trying to make it my space, but at the same time, somebody else's space, and like once they move in, I'll have no excuses. It's just going to have to happen. It's just like stay in your space kind of thing. And so, yeah, I'm almost done with this job. I just got to see here. Okay. Some of the trusses are just a pain in the butt. Like, just they shouldn't have to be that difficult to work with, but sometimes they just are. So let me think here. This one is has to be redone. 5, 6. I think it's fine. Right, this one actually should have. Okay, so just let's see here. J6. Right over that. So let's see here. Hopefully that won't affect anything. I hope not. Okay, so before applying that, why is that 6? Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. So JC, no. J6A, let's see, 564. Better redo this one. Sorry. I have like 4 more trusses and there's like this tricky situation. That obviously nobody would ever really look into this at where I'm at. I just want to cover my ass, so. While I'm also trying to record a video. God. This is probably fine. I just want to make sure. Okay, so because that was getting close, so I just 592. All right, so 592. So I want to put that there and then this. Okay, so 206 is there. That's there. And then for the, let's see, this is 502. This job sucks. This is one of those trap jobs. Well, not as bad as it can be, but it kind of is. Like, it's not as smooth as another job. I was hoping it'd be smoother, but God, sometimes you just got to deal with it. There's worse. There's been worse, so I'm glad. I can appreciate that this is not as, as bad. But, let's see. Okay. Yeah, that looks good. actually here. Shit. So it was user modified. Problem with user modified loads is you try to modify it further, you're deleting loads that were intended to stay there. So just a pain in the butt. Let's see here. What can I do so that I basically preserve what they have while at the same time, because I know it's going to be overloaded. These loads don't make any sense. I don't know why they put it in here, but I have to add loads because it's going to basically be overloaded because to cover us from what's actually on the layout. Sorry, I'm just. Let's see here. So if we add that in. 72. I hope everything stays good. Okay, so if I just run it, hopefully nothing fails. You just have a few plates that need to be changed. Because on our end, if the lumber doesn't fail and the plates fail, we can always change the plates, you know. So it's kind of the idea. So it's good. Even with those large loads and me adding a load, it was still good. Okay, good. Okay, so I just gotta send it to myself, let them know that plates changed, and if they get pissed off, it's like, well, you know, or if they get shaky about it, I'll just let them know that, hey, you know, this came in with these loads and you put it in there, so, you know. If you want, I can go back and delete them and try to get the original plating to work, that kind of thing. So let's see here. So the top, that's good. And then the bottom, 265. Everything's good. 2655. This truss is going to be there. I have 2 more trusses left. They should be easy. Yep, that one seems pretty good. This one should just be a walk in the park. I just want to make sure. slightly off, but I'm gonna accept it because it won't really be affected by anything. Oh wait. No, that needs to be. I think this is going to be a redo truss. But we'll see. We will see. So yeah, this happens quite often, like where the edge of the hip trusses miss the hip jack load, the edge of the hip sets. Whenever I see it, I'm like, God damn, not another one. Also, I was trying to go. Oh no, I'm not. It's not going to be a redo. It's just going to be a here. Plates change on this. Oh, shit, just realized. I'm trying to go back to. I'm trying to explain that that at some point I accidentally looked over at someone else's monitor, and the guy said I need to speed. Like, I'm sorry, I need to speed up. And the guy has like 10 years of experience. He's like probably in his 40s. He's way ahead of me, and the guy was telling him to go to speed up, and it's like, oh my God, that kind of thing. It's like, wow, I'm not alone. So it makes me feel like when I saw that, I was like, oh wow, I'm not alone. So yeah, I mean, it's just this firm is just crazy. They're always pushing productivity and stuff. So they made it seem like it wasn't, but then they ended up being that way. But anyway, it's all good. For now, at least, I guess. Yeah, I'm gonna green light this. All truss is done for this job. Okay, good. That took longer than I thought it was going to. Let's see, what else do we have here? I'm trying to go back to one truss that I had to redo. That one with the questionable loads where like somebody put it in there. Wanted to make sure that because the software does this, because the software engineers are sitting there. Well, actually, I don't want to assume anything, but let's just say that when they make one change, it screws everything else up, and so then there's times where like when you save the truss, it changes the lumber, or when you redo the truss in iDesign, it changes the lumber when you didn't want it to. You like whatever you did wasn't supposed to do that. That problem is happening. It's such a big issue for the engineers. I mean, it's like you just wish that would never happen, because like in a perfect world, keep everything the same, But yeah. So I'm done with this job, and it only really happened about. It's been happening late. Well, it happened about a month ago, and then it happened like 3 years before that. And within that time frame, it never happened again. I mean, it just never happened. I don't really know why that even has to happen, but it does, Anyway, so I'm done with that job. I feel like I need a break, but I wanted to explain more. I don't even remember where I was getting at. But let's see here. Like I was telling you, I'm probably going to have to focus more on the job because I'm doing the job stuff. So, all right, I'm going to a new job. I was going to seal these. I have about 3 jobs that I can seal right now, but I'm going to wait. And then the guy messaged me, so I'm gonna get back to him. Hey Raimundo, when you have a chance, I will reboot the computer right now. So I'm actually gonna reboot the computer. I'm gonna get out of this. So yeah, I wanted to show you those leasing documents, and I also wanted to, so I'm gonna sign out, show you what I've been working on in terms of like trying to get the, like I already did the room a while back, right? And I think I might as well show you, but I mean, I just have to take some shit out of the closet, you know. I'm gonna shut the computer down. Anyways, let me show you. I'm gonna take out the USB that connects to my keys. Because after this, I'm gonna probably take a walk because I just need to get away from this for a little bit. And then I'm gonna have some gum. So, yeah, the next thing is kind of like to just advertise the place. Now, obviously, my room is not gonna be advertised because this is my room, you know. But and yeah, I still need to move some stuff out of here and then close this closet door. But basically, yeah, I mean, there's a few other things that I need to take out of here, but I pretty much cleared the room so that somebody can start visiting, and then they're like, okay, you know, I'm interested, I'm not interested, and then, yeah, there's this carpet pad. Basically, whatever you see in here, I'm just going to temporarily store it in the garage and then put it somewhere. I'm not quite sure. So yeah, I got all these like blankets and stuff that I don't use. I'm gonna have to find a way to store it. Same thing with this. Probably just gonna put it in the garage. Now the linen stuff, I don't put it in the garage. And then I have to take this tape out. It's not a big deal. Just stupid tape. Because I intended on painting a little bit more, but I'm like, it's like nobody really cares. I mean, if everything else looks nice, so they might care. In which case, I might just put the tape back on. But for showing purposes, I'm just gonna have to. And guess what? I never took care of this. This is the breaker panel. I was supposed to replace it, but because it seems perfect the way it is, and the problem with trying to replace it is that not only does it cost money, $1,500, but it would just be a pain in the ass. And the thing is, the HOA, I actually went ahead and joined their meeting. They have a whole other host of problems that they're nice to actually focus on rather than that, right? And so they're focusing on that stuff, and so they're basically like, they're not coming after anybody if they didn't submit their paperwork for changing out the breaker panel. Hopefully they're not seeing this video, but it is what it is. And obviously, there's a few things here, like I'm going to get rid of that thong, whatever that is. It's not mine, but... and then just a few other things to get kind of cleaner, and then probably wipe down some surfaces. I have to throw out that garbage. And then clean like the edge here, because it looks like there's pink stuff, which is basically bacteria, because I haven't cleaned it for a while. I might get a cleaning lady or something. So yeah, I mean, it's like, I may not do it because like right now it seems like it's in a presentable fashion anyway, because I did all the work anyway. So it, like, if I don't have time, it goes back to the whole automation thing. It's like I have to find ways. There's gonna be flaws with the process, and you just have to accept those flaws. And the more automated things are, the less flaws you're gonna get, you know. So here's what I did during Sunday after I saw my dad for the birthday weekend, which I was regretful about, but that's another day. I screwed up because I got up at like 9, and then I waited for Melissa for an hour, and it's long story, but We got there at like 3:30 or something. I thought I was going to be able to get out of here. That's on Saturday, but anyway, um, yeah. So we kind of like cleared out the place. Now I know there's a few other things. Like I put the pillows kind of on the side, just so I can lay down. And there's a few other things here. This is Melissa's purse. Don't come. Don't try not to find me. um, so yeah, I basically everything cleared out, and now it's getting ready for it to have a showing, and yeah, we'll get it done. I still have to vacuum the carpet here because we've had it for now like four or 5 months, and it got a little messy. And then I got this for a good deal, Dyson vacuum for about $150. And everybody kind of they thought it was going to be broken or something, but yeah. So it's getting ready to be showed, and I just have to pay that $167 to get it done, to sign up. And I'm in a little bit of a pickle, you know. I hate to say it, call it a pickle, but it's true because basically, in order for me to set up ACH in the way that I wanted to, basically, you know, with a business account, I have to get $1,000, you know, to minimum to deposit into that account, right? But at the same time, the thing is, I don't really have money right now. Right now, I'm focused on paying off about $3,000 of debt, and I have, but it's really $1,000, because when you net after Friday, it's going to net to about $1,000. So I still have about $1,000 of credit card debt left, and it's just like, you know, with the way I'm set up right now, everything is optimized to save a ton of money, and so it's just very little left, and so I may put that off for a while, so I can save up the money, but I was focused on paying off the debt, so I just, you know, so like getting that money is kind of weird, because then if I have the tenant set up with ACH, which is basically automated payment every month, then it's like I'm putting it in. I would have to put it in the bank account I have right now that wouldn't be considered a business account. And maybe there's other business accounts I can get that doesn't require a deposit, but like it just looks weird if you use your personal account to put the deposit in there. Because the thing with me is I would open that business account and just put the money in that business account. I'm not even going to touch it. So, unless I guess I'm using it for other reasons, but like investment or something. But I wouldn't do that for a long time. You know, that's going to be the focal point for whenever you go to court or something. Like this is the ledger of this account. But if I have to mix that in with my own personal, then it's going to look weird. It's going to be like, why is this guy using his personal account for all this? So I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do, but we'll see. I'm kind of in a weird pickle because of that. And because I really don't have anything saved. I don't have any. I have 100 before my next paycheck, which is this Friday. I have $116 saved. I'm always cash strapped. I'm not saying I'm always cash strapped, but like for a good reason. Like that car that I got, remember it was nearly $8,000, and I had to pay a lot of taxes. So yeah, it was the total was like almost $9,000. So I had to save up money, and just whatever, I use my credit card to pay for stuff, you know, to basic living necessities, you know. And so it's just that one period. But like at this point, like with how much I make, and if I see something like $3,000, $5,000 or whatever, like I don't really balk at it at all. You know, I'm just like, it is what it is, because, you know, it could be paid off fast. But the thing is, the objective is to save a shit ton of money. That's the whole idea, so that I can use it for a house or something like that. Or yeah, for a house. So yeah, thanks for watching. I'm gonna go on a walk, get back to work. Have a good day. Was there something else I wanted to discuss? Oh, right. So another thing, I want to go back to my fitness goals. So today I actually weighed in at 158.8 pounds. I think did I say that? And so that's only 2 pounds away from my lightest in the last 10 years. You know, which and I didn't do a 7-day fast or whatever. So the 7-day fast was the one where I reached the lowest at 156.8 pounds. You can see that in my video. And so this is actually a good sign because I think my muscles are still preserved, and I just keep doing what I got to do. But I'm probably not going to wait. So my whole thing is I think I might actually be at like 14.2% body fat, and so it's just crazy like how much you have to do, and it kind of sucks because I just feel like less social. But when I was during the weekend, it's weird. Like every time I go out now, it feels like I have to give in to something, but then I don't end up doing it. Like if I go out with friends to a dinner party or to a dinner plate thing and or like lunch or something, I'm like I always have to be extremely careful. Like, damn it, what do I get? It's like so when I went out with my dad, and I treated him. I thought we were gonna go to a museum, but or something. But when I treated him and treated everybody, well, me and Melissa did. I wouldn't say just me, but well, because she volunteered, she was just like, I'll just help you or whatever. But when we went out and we were there, I knew at that moment I'm like I wasn't in a position to eat protein, and obviously I'm never in a position to eat carbs too. So like the only thing at that moment I was like, I can't even have salmon right now. It's I was like, fuck, So the only thing I could do, I was like, you know what? Hey, how much is a side salad? Yeah, we could put that on there for $6. So I got a side salad, just the salad, with Gorgonzola blue cheese as my meal. I was like, okay, well, this will do. It's crazy, it's gotten to that point, but you got to do what you got to do. I mean, if the more you learn about your body and what it takes to cut to wherever you want to get to, the more it gets restrictive, and the weirder it gets, the weirder it gets. And then, I mean, it's not that I'm opposed to eating all that. It's just that at that moment, for that time, for how my body was and how, like, it wasn't even because I wanted to show off that I can do this, but it's just the idea. It's just because I know that my body too well. It just wouldn't, if I wanted to stay where I'm at, sure, it's not a big deal. But if I wanted to continue on with those results over and over again, it's just not, it's like, dude, like, that's about all I can have. And then I even somewhat regretted that. So I had the olive oil, right? Because I noticed that I was kind of like having too much fat. Like I was eating nuts and this and that, and just little bits of fat things here and there. But I was doing that too much. Like, I don't know why I did that. I kind of felt like I had to, because it just felt like the flow of things weren't right. Like, I'm like, if I don't eat right now, I just don't feel like, oh, shit. Hold on.